Have you ever had this happen to you? Have you been working on thinking more abundantly, trying to attract money through the law of attraction, but somebody important in your reality, maybe it's your spouse, maybe it's your mom, maybe it's your friends, there's somebody close to you who has very negative opinions about money and about abundance, and the way they think about money and they talk about money is dragging down your vibration when it comes to abundance. Have you ever had that experience before? Well, if so, you're in good company, because this is very, very common with people who are working with the law of attraction to become more abundant. You may find that your vibration is raising and you're starting to think more positively about money, but the people around you are making it really challenging for you to continue to keep that train of thought. Maybe your spouse is being super cheap. Maybe your mom is talking about the sky's falling and, we're going to lose all our money. And you keep hearing this stuff. Well, yes, this can be a block to your personal abundance. However, there's a very simple way for you to remedy this. And so make sure to watch through till the end of this video so that you fully understand how do you turn that dynamic around, so that not only am I thinking positively about money, but when I'm around my mom, or I'm around my spouse, I'm around so-and-so, I can stay positive and it doesn't knock me down. So to remedy this situation, you first have to understand why it happens, because once you understand why it happens, it makes it much easier to turn it around. This situation happens for one of two reasons, and sometimes a mix of both. All right, so the first reason is that you may have always thought that way in the past. Okay, so maybe you're working on your abundant mindset now, but before you learned about the law of attraction, or before you started working on changing your belief structures, maybe you had more negative beliefs about money. So I know for me personally, I have a much more abundant mindset now, but before the law of attraction, I did not have a very positive mindset with money. I thought there wasn't enough. I thought it was hard to get. I thought you had to struggle for it. So if you've had any of those kinds of beliefs before learning about the law of attraction, understand this, okay? We attract what our mindset is, okay? So when you believe things that are positive in nature, you will attract more people who believe those positive things. But when you believe things that are negative in nature, you will attract more people that believe those things. Now, if you've always thought that way about money, chances are, negatively, if you thought negatively about money, chances are there were people who were around you who shared those beliefs. Maybe your parents, maybe your siblings, maybe your friends, maybe your neighbors, maybe your spouse, but there were other people that shared those belief structures. And so when we suddenly shift and decide, okay, I'm going to start thinking more positively about money, well, we first will notice that all around us is a cast of characters who doesn't think very positively about money. All right. Now, why is this? It's because they were there from the past. Okay. We attracted this situation long time ago. Okay. Or maybe even from birth. This has just been our situation. So there's a lot of momentum with that. And that these people kind of represent an old belief structure to me. I used to think that money was hard to get. Therefore, I attracted people around me who thought money was hard to get. Now, that's the first reason why you can find yourself in this situation where you're trying to think more positively, but the people around you are reflecting your old beliefs. Now, there's a second reason, and sometimes these reasons are commingled, okay? But this can be a separate reason. Sometimes you've simply come to identify somebody as having a negative belief structure, okay? So let's say that, your cousin always talked negatively about money in the past. Well, if you've always been around your cousin and he's always spoken negatively about money, what will happen is your belief about your cousin is going to gain momentum. Okay, so through the law of attraction, there is momentum. The more you think a thought, the easier it is to think a thought. So if I've been thinking, not just once or twice, but for years, or maybe even my whole life, that my cousin is negative about money, even if I change my personal beliefs about money, I still believe he's negative about money. So when he shows up, he's going to be negative about money to reinforce my personal beliefs. So these are the two conundrums that create this situation where you're working on your abundance mindset and the other people are being negative Nellies and dragging you down. Okay, again, first, this was something that I used to think in the past, so I drew in people like this, and or I've always seen this person as being negative with money. So even if I change my beliefs, they are still going to show up being negative about money. All right, so like I told you, I've got a technique for you to turn this around so that these people don't drag you down anymore, okay? And that you can walk through life thinking positively about money, and either people don't show up saying negative things, or it's almost comical how little influence it has over you. All right. But first, if you enjoy law of attraction videos that teach you how to create the reality of your dreams, please make sure to go ahead and subscribe to my YouTube channel. And of course, go ahead and turn on the handy notification bell. I put out content like this every single week, and I know you're going to enjoy it. All right. So this is the trick. Okay. Now, first things first, this is not about making people positive. Okay, so one thing that often happens in this situation where other people are blocking your abundance is that you may find yourself wanting to make them change. I want them to be positive. They should be more positive. They should stop being this way. And the thing to understand about them is that that's pushing against. Okay. And whenever we push against, we're being resistant. Okay. So if we're being resistant to their negativity, unfortunately, we keep their negativity active. Okay, so that's the first thing we absolutely want to get out there, is that we're not trying to change these people, okay? Rather, we're going to do something very specific that's kind of an energy hack, and you let the chips lie where they may, because there's a few different ways that this can play out. Okay, so you don't have to decide which way it plays out. Just do the exercise and let the chips fall where they may. Okay, so this trick has everything to do with energy. Okay, whose energy is stronger? Who has more faith? Whose belief is superior? Okay, that's kind of the focus that we're looking at here. Because when you get yourself into a situation like this, where you want to think positive, you want to think positively about money, but this person's thinking negatively about money, here's what frequently happens. Especially if this is new for you. You're new in your beliefs, your positive beliefs about money, so you're kind of wobbly with them. You're still not quite sure of them. Maybe you're not super confident yet, but here comes Cousin Eddie. And Cousin Eddie's been rehearsing the same negative stuff forever. So he's got conviction about his negativity. He's got conviction that the sky is falling and there's not going to be any money, and, you know, everything's going to go and be gone and we're all going to be destitute and poor. Like, he's got it so rehearsed that when you and him talk, because your beliefs are newer and his are so well established, that he dominates the conversation. Okay. And that's what happens. If the person's words are impacting you negatively, all right, and in this situation they are, it means that that person's coming to the table and they have the dominant belief set between the two of you. It's not a good one, right? Not a good one. But in terms of passion, energy, and excitement, Cousin Eddie's got a more dominant hold and wrangle over that conversation. And whoever has the most passion and the most conviction is going to infect the other person with their way of thinking. See, vibration and beliefs, they are infectious. Okay, they're like diseases. All right, and I'm sure you've noticed this. If you hang around a lot of negative people, you're going to start thinking negative. But if you hang around a lot of upbeat and positive people, you're going to be more upbeat and positive. All right, and this goes with all different kinds of things. You know, if you're in a room and you see someone yawning, you're more likely to yawn. If you have a friend who starts using a word that you've never heard of before, you're more likely to start using that word. All right. So through the law of attraction, we do this to each other. Okay. We infect each other with our vibration. And so understand that that's the game that you're playing. So when you find yourself in these situations, what you want to do is you want to be more positive. If they say something negative about money, you say 2 or 3 things positive about money. If they're speaking negatively about money at this volume, you speak positively about money at this volume, okay? And so what you're doing is expressing higher conviction, okay? That's the trick. Now, like I said, this can go a few different ways, and it's not your job to make the other person become positive, okay? So here's a couple of things that can happen. One is that you may infect that person quite easily, okay? And they may shift and start talking more positively. That's great, okay? Because you can start to see that you're having a positive impact and that your dominant faith in these abundant principles is rubbing off on these people that you care about. The other thing that can happen, and this can happen particularly if you're in a situation where the person that we're talking about here is extremely negative, very dominant in their opinion, and it's very hard for you to see them any other way than that. Sometimes what will happen is they'll just bounce off of you, meaning the phone may cut out. I've seen that one before. So like my parents and I, when it comes to money, like they were very frugal and now I'm not. You put me on the phone with them and they start talking money and I start out dominating them in the conversation. Sometimes the phone just cuts out. Like they vibrationally just bounce off. Okay. You may see this in the person leaving or changing the topic of conversation. They don't want to talk about it anymore because it's not comfortable for them because you're out dominating their position. You may also see in some cases that people, if you continue on like this and they stay dominant in their position and you out dominate them, the relationship may end. Okay. And so I'm going to put that in there kind of as a warning because that can happen. However, I would say this, that generally will happen if we're talking about someone where your belief structures are, just leaps and bounds beyond where theirs are. And there's not commonality anymore. And in that case, it's probably for the best that that person moves on. Okay. So, but like I said, practice this activity. If someone comes at you with this much negativity, come with them with this much positivity. Okay. Speak it a little bit louder, speaking it a little bit more. It's not a fight. Okay. It's not a fight, but think about your volume and your passion and how positively you're speaking and aim to do more than their negative speech. And it's a very, very exciting dynamic that occurs. Now, also, it does help to have lots of positive things to say. Okay. Lots of positive things to say. So if you'd like to beef up your positivity vocabulary, I have another video you might want to watch next. It is on some of my best wealth affirmations. There's a bunch of them in there. Lots of things that you can have on your mind when you're speaking to people about money. So go ahead and watch that one next. But thanks for watching today's video on when other people block your abundance. And I look forward to bringing you another one soon. Bye-bye.